Hello. Welcome, everybody. Look at where we're at.
Wow.
It's a little different
Wow.
here.
Look at this
Looks a little
place.
different.
Look at friends who roll dice. I like what you did with the place. The little tchotchkes you got over there. I love the throw pillow. Just marvelous. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Drax, thanks for setting this all up, buddy.
Yeah.
Welcome on in, friends. We are going to be playing the fourth episode of our Hyper Light Drifter game, which is a tabletop role-playing game based from the video game, the indie video game named after the same thing. And the game is made by Metalweave Games. Andreas is more than likely here in the chat with us tonight. Thank you so much, friend, for helping us set this up and for being a guide when we need it, and we need it. But I think we're learning. I think we're getting the hang of it finally, and yeah, we had an adventure the last time that we played. And before I want to kind of just dive in, but before we do that, let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'd love to get to know who everybody is. Please let folks know who you are and who you are playing, as well as your pronouns and your character's pronouns. And we'll start this time with Calamity.
Oh, hi. I'm Calamity. Pronouns she, they. Are we supposed to say what we do as a person?
Nah, who you playing? Just who.
All right, who I'm playing. I was like, who am I?
We'll
I'm
do all
playing
plugs and stuff at the
Elalla,
end.
who is a versifer, a Finnic Fox versifer. Her pronouns are she, they as well.
All right, excellent. And you know what? What is? Let's see. What did we learn a while ago? We learned what everybody's like favorite foods were, like what their favorite comfort foods were. So what is Elala's favorite time of year?
Ooh. I could see Elalla as like a summer person. I could see them running around in the heat and just enjoying themselves, longer days. I think it should be a summer person.
All right. I appreciate
don't
that.
agree
Especially
with
because it's like
her,
40
but-
degrees right now, a little chilly out here. So nice. Thinking warm. All right, Banzai. How about you? Who are you and who you playing?
Hello, everybody. My name is Banzai Baby. I am she, her, and I am playing Finn, who is also she, her, otter person. And her favorite season would be fall. Lots of things just to scurry around. Wears a lot of heavy coats and pockets with things with pockets. Fall weather. So gear, and also a lot of things just like tend to like be easier to find in the ground during fall. Everybody's trying to like pre-huddle up for the winter. Winter's too cold to mess around digging in places. Fall's like the perfect time. And also, like I said, reliving back to her guardian's favorite food that they cook for them is soup. So they get extra soup during this time. Soup weather. Ooh.
It is soup weather. With
Soup
like all
weather.
the fresh harvest and everything. Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm gonna make soup this weekend.
Ooh.
Oh,
Shelly.
that sounds so good. Like toss it in a crock pot and just let it do its thing.
Ooh.
Yes, please. Well,
Mhm.
Mo, how about you? Who are you playing? Or who
Yeah.
are you and who are you playing?
Yeah, hey, I'm Mo. I go by they, she pronouns. I am playing Nemo, they, them pronouns. They are a canine wayfinder. And their favorite season is spring because it reminds them of their past partner.
Oh.
Because they would always go and like pick flowers, do like flower crowns and stuff. And yeah.
Why are all of our babies so sweet? It seems like,
You
all
asked
each
for a
of you-
thing. I was like,
I did. Oh,
Didn't ask
heartstrings.
for
We
my
haven't
heart
even
out.
started. Oh, so good. Well, my name is Gnome, pronouns he, him, and I'm going to be the narrator today. And what's cool about this game in Hyper Light Drifter is that you don't necessarily need what we would know as like the dungeon master. You can actually run this without having a dungeon master. Everybody would take on like a responsibility at different phases of the game, and we kind of ended some phases. We went through. I'm trying to think. I think we've done every phase now at this point. We've done dungeon delving. We've done exploration. What else did we do? We've done a bunch of stuff. We've done travel. We even did a little downtime. So I think we've finally like kind of showcased a little bit there, but now we're gonna go back into the travel phase, and I'm going to offer this up again. If you would all like to group up and team up like you did last time to share kind of where we're at, what's happened so far in the story, I will give you each a reroll, or if one person wants to be like mine, the reroll is yours. Nope, team effort.
Yeah, let's do
team effort.
Team effort.
Who wants
All
to
right.
be first?
I literally put down 2 no's and I just wrote them down. So, yeah.
Woohoo!
Ooh.
It's in fairness, it's been a little while.
Yes.
Speaking of, we need to talk afterwards as to what we're doing next week, because it's a holiday.
Oh, yeah.
And we totally forgot about that, Banzai.
What?
Oh, oops.
Holiday.
Yes.
We'll figure it out later.
We'll
Let's
figure it
go
out.
ahead.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Who wants to start us off? Where are we at? Where are we going?
I could start us off if you
Starting
guys don't
from the
mind.
beginning.
Yeah,
If
go
you
ahead.
folks don't mind. Just kind of going all the way back to origin stories. Heard a big boom. Panic. Unrest in our village. Then 3 noble souls proudly volunteered to go ahead and investigate the big boom. And also take upon ourselves a microchip to save the village with a power supply for more water. Correct. Yes. And when doing so, we investigated that the big boom came from a titan in the ground. And we got to explore the titan. Roll it over. What happened in the titan?
Here in the Titan, we found a robot friend who we loved very much, and we were going to go into the Titan and help the robot friend regain its memory. And after some exploration and some explodey crystals and another oh my gosh, what do they call it? Drifter, another drifter that we found. We happened upon a robot friend to learn that they had been taken over by the corruption, sadly, and were then trying to kill us and spread the corruption about. Yes, so it kind of became so our robot friend is no longer really mostly our robot friend anymore.
Yeah.
So then we had to fight them, and it was a difficult battle.
It was very difficult. But we did. We were able to stop the corruption from spreading to the Titan because the corruption was trying to take over the Titan and rise and do corruption-y stuff. So we were able to stop it. The Titan stopped, but Friend was still infected. So, God dang, it's been so long. What are names?
What is my name? Elalla. Finn.
Finn. Finn threw one of the exploding crystals at it. And with a thought and a quick conversation between all of us, out of character, just because to make sure we were in the right space. As we were leaving, the whole thing went blue sky high. And then we had camp that night outside of it. And that's where we left off.
That is where we left off. Each of you go ahead and mark down that you have a free reroll. They've come in handy, so love it. Keep doing it. And we're going to shift to our travel phase, because while you had information now, you've discovered what was the cause of the big boom and what it's doing and have prevented one disaster. You were also tasked with another mission. and that was to go a little bit beyond the boom to a small facility that is supposed to be cleaning the water. It acts as a filtration system, but something's not working. And you were given a chip. And that chip, that computer chip, is potentially what's going to allow the systems to work again. So that's kind of where you're at. And I'll explain the travel phase real quick. In the travel phase, we'll determine how many hexes or rounds, because we're not using a map. We're more theater of the mind, compared to like where the destination is. Each round will have its own challenge. We'll decide if there's consequences that are going to be in there. Each player will pay the cost, if any, to pick a skill and narrate how they want to use that skill to contribute to the journey. And it can be any skill that you have. Depending on the outcome of the roll, the player or narrator can weave the intended action outcome as appropriate. And there are no gains during traveling or anything like that. This is really just to kind of explore and see what happens along the way. And we can have combat encounters. We can do exploration. We can end up finding a dungeon. You can have downtime. You can literally do all of the other phases within the travel phase, which is really nice. So the sun comes up, and it is warm once again. Though warm is relative when there's snow all around you and you're still kind of high up in the mountain. And you're greeted by the sound of wildlife. There are birds that are chirping, and maybe the fire still has some kindle in it, and it's crackling just lightly, ready to be doused so that you can pack up, head on out, or have breakfast and head on out. That's up to you. If you would like to take an opportunity to roleplay with each other right now, I'm more than happy to pause. Otherwise, we'll continue with the travel round.
How quiet of a morning do y'all think it is between the three of us?
Elala's not saying much. She's probably in her book writing.
Yeah, I think Nemo's collecting their cans and like their strings and wrapping up the wire and making sure that things are safe and the fire's put out, like kicking some snow over the fire and stuff.
Oh, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Very good. I think honestly, Finn is gonna try to distract herself from like thinking deep thoughts, because that's not good. I'm gonna be like, so, Nemo, do you need any more help with anything? You good?
Yeah, can you roll this wire for me, please? And I'll hand over like the wire. It's kind of like the last bit is still like laid out, but like they're just going around and picking up the cans now.
Mm-hmm.
And like detaching the cans from it, yeah.
Maybe I'll get like an extra stick and wrap it around. Maybe that's a little bit better.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah. Twine. So how long do you think it's gonna be to go to the next place?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Did they tell us like how long of like a trip it would be to get out there?
Yeah, I believe we said you had like 1 week to get there and then 1 week to make the trek back.
And we spent like maybe like 2
and
days
you've
already
made, so there's probably like maybe 2 or 3 more days.
Yeah.
Of travel. It's really not much.
Yeah. And I think Nemo pauses as like they're squatted down picking up cans and they're like doing the math, the brain maths. And they're like maybe like 2 to 3 more days, if that. So not too much longer. Still have to be in the snow, but like hopefully we can find higher grounds with drier places.
Nemo, you've been out side, like this outside world, a lot more than.
Yeah. What's up?
I didn't like the thing that I saw in there. Is it like a lot of it out here?
And I think they stand and like dust their hands like on their pants and will like finish stacking the cans in their stuff and like toss it in the bag and they like inhale and they're like, yeah, unfortunately, like out here you do what you can to survive, and especially against the corruption, and not much you can do honestly to stop it. And just what you can do is make sure that you and your loved ones can see another daylight. Find a nice place to sleep that's dry and something warm for their belly. And that's all we can really do.
Well, if we can find more rocks like the explodey rock, I think we'll be okay, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And they'll like reach their hand out for the curled up wire thingy. And they'll hold the stick and they're like, not what I would use, but like, I like it. And they'll stick it in the bag.
Elalla, what are you drawing? Are you?
Oh, I was just trying to see if I could remember what it looked like when we first got there.
Did you? I think you should write down as an important fact that you got to slap things, because that was really important to do things, right? Pretty sure.
Yeah, you did a lot of that. Yeah. I'll write that down.
There. Did you put the really cool stuff that you did with the when we went flying around the room? Because you should probably put more of that stuff, and especially how Nemo did a lot of chopping.
Yeah, I've got all that in there. Yeah, I think I've almost got everything.
It's gonna kind of be nosy looking around, just like looking at your pages. Do you have illustrations in there at all?
Very, very not like mediocre drawings. I'd say not the best drawings. You can kind of tell what they are.
I think Nemo's doing a lap just to make sure that they picked everything up and like they're not leaving any letter behind or anything like that.
I love it. Pack in, pack out.
Yeah.
Great.
Also, you don't know when you need that trash. You might need that trash for something. Like,
as a drifter, I mean, you're not wrong. That trash could be life or death. You know.
As a wayfinder as well. Like.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Well.
So the lot of you gather. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I was just closing. She closes when she's like, "That part's done."
You know, you could add more robots in there because I like robots in a lot of my stories. If you want to make it exciting.
Well, I want it to be accurate. You know.
All right, that makes sense.
I might add one extra.
And then I guess I'll just go ahead and help around. Just go in, bother people. Mostly just not annoy, just helpful.
Well, I think as you're like, okay, and you like lean back and you're like proud of yourself, I think that's when Nemo comes up like, all right, we're clear. If we're ready to go, let's go.
Let's go.
Waves a big old paw and like lets them lead the direction.
Actually, which way?
Okay, hold on. They'll just lead. I was trying to be polite.
Lala's gonna go in like the complete opposite direction we need to.
Yeah, I think that's when Nemo like picks you up and like turns you around. Like, nope, I'm bleeding now. And we off.
Yeah.
All right, y'all are heading to the west. I don't remember what direction we actually said you were going. You're heading west now. That's the appropriate way to go.
West sounds
Here
good.
for it.
What's
Sounds
gonna
good.
be? And
Oh, I wanted to say, as we're going into this travel phase, let me know whenever I could do this or use this, because we're all learning this game. I have the safer path, move.
oh yeah,
Uh,
we used that last time, didn't we?
Yeah, for each hex you or montage round you travel in the travel phase, gain a reroll token that you can respend or give it to your allies. This token can be given and consumed as a reaction, allowing the player to roll again and keep it either result. These tokens expire when you enter the downtime phase.
Great. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. This is the travel phase. You're able to use that ability. For sure. That's awesome. So how we've been doing the travel phase is each of you will pick a skill, and we will have a roll for that skill, and depending on the outcome of the dice is kind of what happens in that leg of the journey. So we'll say we have about 3 days to go. So that's 3 different rounds. So each of you will have the opportunity to use a skill, and we'll figure out what the story is going to be from there. So I'm assuming Nemo, because you're leading. Are we gonna have you go first? Okay.
Yes.
What skill would you like to be using in the first leg of the journey?
Let's see here. Let me look at my skills. Oh, I'm already at the beginning. We're talking about combat, social, manipulate, exploration, survival, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can
Okay.
use any of those.
I think I'm going to go with exploration.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your dice.
Pulling out a gay dice. Ooh.
Dice.
You know, I'm just going to use that free reroll that we got from doing the
Yeah. Oh no.
from the whatchamacallits.
Starting off well.
All
It was a
right.
3, by the way. So
Whoa, that's a full
Ooh.
so
consequence.
let me just take that free reroll now, the one that we just got from during recap. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's a 16. And my
Hey,
max
great.
is 16.
And what's your temperance?
8 to 16. So
8 to 16. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so you nailed it. You are going to be successful without consequence. Because you had full fortune. You were fully successful. Please go ahead. What does this exploration look like to you? What maybe would you encounter along the way? You have, because you were fully successful and there's no consequence, you have full range of kind of going through this montage as to what happens.
So I think we're getting more into into a Healy sort of situation. So and the snow is getting thicker in certain areas. So and there's no trails. We're trailblazing, as they call it. And I think it's just them slomping through the snow, trying to go through certain parts. It goes up to Nemo's mid calf knee, while the other two are up to their.
We're just gonna stay behind you.
You're just hopping into my footsteps.
Yes. Clearing the path a little bit more.
We're just like,
Ooh. And I make sure to drag my feet a little bit so you actually have a path and instead of hopping in individual walls. And I think it's a pretty clear day. It's not as wooded as it typically is. It's one of those open mountainy sort of areas. Just you think these are in the summertime. These are just flush green hills with true flowers and all that. And it's pretty calm and pretty quiet for the most part. The wind's a little nippy, but it's fine. It's just a very quiet morning as we head through.
Okay. How do you think everybody's mood is on this morning? How's everybody kind of feeling throughout the day?
Determined.
I think Finn's gonna see this as a kind of playful moment, slightly miserable because it's like she can't really see that high above the snow. I'm pretty sure, we're both like what, sub 5 foot. Yeah, I was like 4'9" if I remember correctly. I was small, and but still kind of having a fun time with it, kind of like at a kind of flicking out snow every now and then, just for whatever reason, you know.
Yeah, I think Elala's just trying to be as positive as possible and be like, this is an adventure, and not really think about the past day or so. Just trying to say, okay, now and forward, let's just get through this. So I think she's just kind of like looking around. They're kind of like, oh, look at that. I've never seen that before. Kind of like making notes in her journal and just kind of bopping along behind Nemo.
All right. So yeah, it's a relatively calm first day, getting you closer to where you need to be. You can't really see. It's not like one of those where it's like, yes, off in the hills. I can. Y'all are 2 days worth of walking and still relatively far out. But it's been dry. The sun has been a welcome guest in this kind of like cold, atmosphere. And you set up camp for the night. Did you want to do any downtime?
Setting up my cans.
You're setting up your cans. Perfect.
Yes.
Great. Love it.
I will use this downtime to look for ingredients that I can craft into for like cures for diseases and such, just in case.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure because it's a field, I can dig under some snow and find something.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Why don't you go ahead and let's do a roll.
That would be a survival if I'm correct, because I'm looking around.
Yep.
Let's see.
Yep, we'll take survival on that.
Hopefully I won't fall into another hole. And I get a 6. It's okay, it's fine. It's not super bad. It's like not a success at all. But it's fine.
So we're talking about a full consequence here?
Yeah, full consequence. Oh, no. I feel like I don't want to use the reroll yet, so I'm just gonna take what I have.
You're a trooper.
Trooper. I got 15 through 8, and 8 is the partial success, but I no,
yep.
6.
Yep,
I got a 6.
We're down here a little bit. I'm just gonna let you build your own consequence on this one.
All right.
You're out there exploring. What happens?
So while I am exploring, maybe I try digging into a wrong area. It's kind of winter. Maybe something that doesn't like getting disturbed in its little hovel kind of got disturbed. And fun interaction maybe got a little bit hurt. And decided to no longer let's say 1 point damage of hurt.
No, that sounds
no.
fair.
Reasonable 1 point damage. Just be like, and then maybe a montage of me running around for a bit until I get far enough away from said nest of creature, and then just like, okay, never mind. Okay, so there is what kind of let me try to think of what kind of creature would be.
I'm curious because we're all animal-like creatures, and then on top of that, there's animals within the world. What's this? What? Is there
non-sentient
canines and non-sentient dogs?
Is this like a Zootopia type thing?
Oh
no! I think it's mostly because it has some weird robot amalgamation of animals, right?
Yeah.
So we'll say one of those were hibernating. Let's kind of like a badgerish type of thing that I'm very happy I only got 1 point. Robo Badger, and it was they are not happy.
Oh,
So
no.
don't go over there. And I'm just kind of going to be quiet, kind of like wrapping up like a little, like kind of patching a little area. Maybe got a little clothing hole.
What happened?
There's one of those robot badgers over there. Don't bother them.
Oh.
I went into their house and announced, and
Oh, are you okay?
yeah, and just a little. I got a bit, ow, but it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. Just
Come here.
uh,
And Neva's gonna like kneel down and like start patching you up.
ow. Thank you. But yeah,
So-
I don't know. I really my guardian said it was good to find medicine, but every time I go out to look for medicine, I file a hole and I find creatures. Foraging is hard.
Especially in the winter. Because there's not a lot around. And you don't know what's underneath snow most of the time. Like, to be
Yeah.
honest, I almost stepped in a rabbit burrow earlier today. I made sure I did see it as soon as I moved. That's why I had to step aside. Like, I stopped real quick and like did like a side step. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, kind. I thought you were just trying to dance for a little bit, but
I mean, it was helpful to warm up and like, you know, I was getting a little chilly, but no, there was a rabbit burrow. I could tell like right away, like almost as soon as I put my foot down, and I didn't want to disturb.
yeah, I mean, rabbits at least are not as mean.
Oh, you haven't seen the robot ones?
Oh. Ow.
Yeah. I had a
Aw.
cousin once who lost a bit of their pinky from a robo rabbit.
Oh. All right, I'll just have to be more careful. Yeah. Hello, you want to avoid that area over there. There's not a scrumpy animal over there.
I will be sure to stay away from it. Thank you. I wanted to know how do you do the fire?
Oh, how to build it? Yeah. I would say easy, but it's just ingrained in me at this point, so it's probably not that easy as I think it is. And they'll like kneel down and pull out they're like, either you can have a fire starter and they hold up the little oh, what's it called? The little flint blocks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Typically, like if you're going out, this is great to have. This is like the one tool that you want to have if you ever do go out. However, if you don't have this and you're lost in the woods, and they'll put it in their pocket, they'll find like 2 sticks from like some of the wood they have and like crack it open and find gets like a little piece of bark and like lays it like outside the bark down on the snow, and then like the inside like flat, and then like they're gonna look around real quick and they'll find like maybe some leaves, like some dried leaves, toss it in there. It's like, okay, so what you're gonna do is they stick one stick in the leaves, and you either can put this and like put it between your hands and just roll it and make sure that you keep the pressure going to like make the friction, or they look around. Oh, what is the one with the 2 sticks? I'm trying to remember.
There's one where you kind of like fiddle.
Yeah, the fiddling one. And then like they're like, yeah, you also fiddle it too.
Yeah.
My brother used to play a fiddle.
It is a lot more strenuous than actually playing a fiddle. Or so I've told.
Very good.
Oh.
Okay. I just want to know so I can help more.
Yeah. It's here, and they'll like hand over the flint box. Like, you can do tomorrow nights.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kind of puts it in her bag, like preciously sits it in her little bag. Like,
You're like,
covers it
it's
up.
in this pocket right here.
Right here.
I would love Elalla. If you need to build a fire for whatever reason in the rest of the campaign, please go ahead and add a +1 to your. It's kind of like a skill up, right? You were taught something new, which is a treasure in and of itself. So add a +1 to fire starting.
Ooh.
Star.
That's not a skill.
Arson.
Arson. Yes.
Like it.
Plus
Love
one
it.
to arson.
I'm puppy sitting right now, and this one just loves being like just wants attention.
Aw,
So sweet.
puppers.
They're so good. I know.
Oh,
Little tail.
Well, the night goes without further incident, and you pack up and head out for the next day. It's a little colder. There's now like some flakes starting to fall, but it hasn't like soaked in any of your gear or your clothes at this point. But it might be good to seek shelter or make shelter. It's always unpredictable with the weather up in the mountains. But you have another day, and who would like to roll for this day and see what montage we experience?
Oop, oop, oop. Sorry. I dropped the dice. I mean, Elalla, do you want to do it because you have the flint box and you're gonna make the fire? You could prove yourself.
Prove myself with the fire. Yeah. Would that technically be survival?
You can use whatever skill that you want for the montage part to get through this travel round, and that's going to be what dictates like how you're going to narrate. So if you pick like a survivor skill, you'll want to narrate getting through the day using some sort of survival. You could do
This is more
combat.
for going through the day. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what sets up like the montage.
I just feel like social is too easy to use because it's like, their strongest thing. So I'm tempted to try something else, but then it could go terribly wrong. So I'm scared.
The dice could go either way. I thought Finn was supposed to be pretty good with that survival.
Fair.
It's just the dice. It's just the dice.
Dice are cursed.
I guess. Exploration.
Okay, we can do exploration.
To kind of, because I think like since the last battle, Elalla's kind of feeling like they're not as helpful. So they're trying to be more helpful in different ways. So they're trying to like go out there, try more, get more hands on.
I like
So
that.
we'll try
All right.
survival, which is not great. We'll see how it goes. Okay, it's 13, and it's 18 and 10. So
Okay, so it's so you hit your temperance, or you're within your temperance, and so that is a partial success. So not a terrible day, but not the best of days. It's just, like a 13 seems pretty average, right? So if you'd like, please go ahead and how does this day go? It's already kind of wet outside, so not the best day to travel in. May impact it, but what's this day look like? Build this montage.
I think because of their new success with learning how to make fire, they're like walking around and like trying to find sticks. And I'm trying to decide which way I want to go. Actually, let's go both because it's not a full fail, but okay.
Yeah,
so
you get a whole day. You could do whatever you wanted this day.
I think like every so often they try to like go off and like gather some sticks, and all of them seem to be pretty wet because it's kind of a colder, like muggier day. So not finding a lot of success finding drier sticks. And then one time when they go to try to find one. They fall into like a bank of snow.
Oh,
And they just hear,
no.
"Oh!" and crawls her way back out. And now she's just very cold for the rest of the day.
No. Finn will try to dust you off a little bit. Maybe help a little bit. Carry some of the sticks so you don't have that many burdens.
There weren't even any sticks over there.
Oh. It's okay. Well, sometimes, at least there wasn't something in there. It's just snow. You're just cold. Not bit.
That's true. That's true. Just kind of doesn't wander off too much after that for the rest of the day.
That's super fair. Now, I guess we gotta know: does Elalla attempt to make the fire for the evening?
I think they will. Just because like none of the sticks were really good, they're like, I don't know if I should try it tonight. I feel like I couldn't find anything good, so I think tonight they'll just very, very tentatively watch Nemo make the fire.
That's fair. Well,
Yeah, I think Nemo offers, and they're like, "You sure?"
I haven't had the best luck today.
Okay, that's fair.
But this way I can learn more.
Yeah, and they'll actually do it like kind of slow, so they'll just like show them how to do it, and just like walk through the process.
I think they've got like an extra blanket on and they're just taking notes.
Yeah, Nemo gives you their jacket, so like you're like all
Thank you.
it's like all wrapped up into the big photos.
Sitting there taking notes.
the night is uneventful, though. Maybe a couple noises have stirred you each awake. The distant howling of robotic wolves off in the distance. Other creatures maybe that you're just haven't encountered, or some that are familiar. It's not the greatest night of sleep, but you manage to make it through the night. And the morning comes once again. And for our final roll... Wait, did we do 3 already? No, we didn't.
No.
We have Finn to go.
Yes.
Finn. What would you like to roll?
I think this seems more of an exploration than survival because we're not making camp. I'm just going to try to find maybe like if the rolling hills say they got kind of flat and there's like maybe some almost like rundown structures that are still like soundly safe.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can find one of these old ancient structures in these lands to like camp in. So exploration. Let's see. Hey, I'm gonna use that reroll.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm gonna use that reroll. Cool. Why are my dice so bad today? Like this.
Why are you so angry?
I got the same number for that reroll.
There is a group reroll from Nemo. If you would like to use that, that's up for y'all to decide.
It's up to you. I mean,
take it.
All right. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, I don't repurpose. I think I have to wait to use repurpose because that's the one where you get to use a skill. So we always do eventually have another reroll that we could potentially once repurpose. All right. Not a 5, not a 5, not a 5. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me use a different dice. Not a 5.
That's
like an idea.
Dice jail.
All of my dice just hate me today. Ooh, yes. Okay, so that was a partial success. It's a 9, so that just hits barely. Just
Wow.
barely.
But it's
Uh,
enough.
It's enough. So let's say it's not a really great sound looking structure. We're just gonna say, and kind of. Actually, can I make it a little interesting with a partial success that the structure is?
You
If you don't
absolutely. This is
mind.
your montage. You
Ooh,
all
ooh.
can take. If you want to explore it, it can become a dungeon delve. Like
Oh,
you
does
can,
it not a dungeon delve? I'll just
but
say
it
that
can
they're.
be if you would
It
like.
can be.
Mhm.
I don't want to make that hard. It's
Yeah.
a partial six because we may have found a secure building but there's some kind of folk I've never seen before hanging out in this structure. Not robot and not a beast. And they're already hanging out there and they have their camp set up.
Like another drifter?
Yeah, another drifter, but they don't look like any kind of beastkin or robotkin. Maybe human?
Those are rare.
Yeah.
One.
So partial because it's not all to us. There is somebody already occupying the area.
Love it. Love it. There's just like this small little group. They don't seem to have noticed you. But they are huddled around a fire. You could see them kind of like cooking something, not sure what. And they're kind of just, you can hear the sounds of chatter and laughter, perhaps in a language that is unfamiliar to any of you, although I do believe we have someone here who is very good with different languages.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could do something about that. Let me just remember.
Yeah, I can't quite
Ooh.
remember if it was like a verbal thing or if it was a written thing.
It just says after a short duration, you can easily exchange basic ideas with someone who does not speak the same tongue as you.
Perfect. Yeah, because
So
we did
after a
that with the
while of
Frogkin.
listening, yeah, and it's passive. So
Excellent. Yeah, so as you're all kind of just like maybe quietly observing, you're able to hear a tale. There's an older woman, rather buff, who has a couple scars across her face, and maybe like there's just tattoos all over one side, and she is kind of regaling this tale of having conquered these massive like beetles that were, the size of a car, which may not be a familiar word or a familiar piece of technology, but they were huge, and she was able to lead her people to safety and kind of herd these, carnivorous beetles into a cavernous corner and cause an avalanche to cave them in, protecting both herself and the rest of the people of their village. And she's very animated as she's telling this story, and like towards the end, kind of like tosses something into the fire, and you could see the fire erupt high into the sky, in this like massive beautiful swirl of like blues and greens, and it kind of shifts color, until it kind of burns through whatever she had tossed in it, winding down back calm to an orange yellowish hue. But they seem unaware of your presence and happy. They're healthy, they seem safe. You don't know if they would be a friend or a foe. Yeah.
Nemo, what do you do? They look weird.
Yeah, they're pretty hairless, but I think I've heard of folks like this before. I think they're
That
called humans.
I've heard they're called
Hummus.
hummus.
Are they cold?
They look like they got some layers on,
Hmm.
but it looks like they don't have any fur.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Are they
Also-
dangerous?
I mean, they just threw something in the fire and made it blue.
That's pretty cool.
That was pretty
That was really cool.
weird. Yeah, we're like, it's cool, and Nemo's like, that's weird. I don't know.
So what the heck? Blue fire?
Should we go see? I couldn't understand what they were saying, but
Yeah,
She was telling a story.
Oh, okay. Okay,
She's
that
a
makes sense
hero.
about the blue fire then. I thought they were casting a ritual or
Oh
something.
no, she was telling a story about this big creature that was like a car, something like that.
Arr.
Car, something like that.
What is that?
I don't know, but it must be really big.
Like a titan?
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe it's a type of titan.
Mm.
Well, they defeated it.
They defeated the titan?
Whatever it was, yeah. They must be really strong.
Oh, wow. Yeah, let's try to make friends with them instead of like fight them, because I don't want that.
We can talk to them.
Can you talk to them?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Do you want us to go with you up to the camp, or did you want to go?
That was adorable.
And then I guess that's when Nemo, like, because they're all crouching behind like a bush or something, and like that's when Nemo sort of like stands up to full height. A big lumbering shadow in the darkness.
Oh God.
The most threatening form. The 6-foot canine wayfinder.
6'5", yeah.
You're right? Yeah, 6'5", which is already taller than any tall human. Like,
Oh my God.
typically.
Look, she said she would help. Just with the just think of like a shepherd dog with like, but they got a little bun. They're gonna
What
approachable.
is
Look
a
at this.
shepherd dog? People like dogs.
Yeah.
I guess if Nemo's standing up, I will also stand up, but I don't think they can see me behind the bushes.
Just see your hand.
Yeah.
You're at this point, like, you're making noise, right? And the hummuses, they stand, the hummuses, they stand up and quickly reach for very primitive weapons that were like kind of like shoved into the snow, excuse me, and point them in your direction, you know, and start kind of like commanding at each other and keeping at a distance with you. But
Yeah,
all
Nemo
of your
automatically
paws are
sees
up
the
in
weapon.
the air.
Yeah, all the paws are up.
Paws up.
Pause up.
And they say something. Elalla, you can kind of translate it essentially into like, who are you?
We're friendly. Friendly. Drifters.
The broader woman, the hero of the tale, is kind of like gives a signal for her companions to lower their weapons, and she kind of pulls hers off to the side, though doesn't let go, and she nods as if understanding. again, you are these animal folk, so the sounds you are making with your mouths are completely different than what a human would hear, what a human would understand. But there's that tonal kind of exchange of like, "Round," and they kind of understand that you're not here to attack. And you mentioned drifter, and they nod with understanding. The woman lets go one hand of her spear and kind of gestures to the fire, and keeps her own language simple, warm.
I think she'll just like kind of step forward and just kind of like in the midst of all these people, just kind of sit herself down and be like,
I think Elalla didn't even translate that for them. Like, she just walked in and just sat down.
sits like, hey.
And I think Nemo sort of like watches and like sort of like, it's like, what?
Do you have another? And she like grabs her book and she like kind of shows like a bunch of writing and like drawings. And she goes, story, tale. And your fire went. And she's trying to like figure out how to like say, can I have another story, please?
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this Fennec versifier, right? The ability to communicate, even if there is an incredibly massive language barrier, there are still some things that are just common symbols in the way that creatures would have to interact with the world. And as you're kind of like being animated in the fire and in the book that you have that is just written in a complete language that they have no concept of, but they can see some of your pictures, right? And as you kind of flip through, they see this big robot, this titan, right, that you had recently just fought, and the woman grins and like kind of pats you on the shoulder as if recognizing another warrior. And she sets her pole down and once again gestures for everybody to come in and sit, and she begins to tell this story, while she asks everybody to sit, remains standing. And she kind of begins to, she reaches into the snow and molds this like creature, which would be similar, something kind of similar, that you'd be able to kind of tell. It looks like some sort of wolf type creature. It's got 4 little legs on it and like a little snoot and a tail, but then she kind of like crushes it in her hand and makes this gesture that it is much bigger. And she explains that there was a time when she was young and was alone in the woods, as her people tend to do when they are testing their warriors. She is alone. All she has is her spear with her. She was cold. She had no food, no shelter. It was just her in the wide open wilderness, left to encounter all types of dangers. There were robots. There were old wreckages of titans. She even encountered corruption. But she knew to avoid it, as corruption makes the hummuses as sick as it does to the animal folk and robot folk. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part of the journey for her was encountering this massive wolf. part robot, part animal folk. This creature, the two of them had this battle. The wolf instinctively trying to just protect itself, the hummus instinctively trying to protect herself, and the two of them just at odds of survival. One needing food, the other just defending. She nearly lost her life in this battle, and she kind of pulls down her thick leather cloak to reveal just this massive gash of scar across her arm, leaving it almost severed entirely. But she pats it, and she grins, because she left victorious. And she kind of gestures to one of the smaller hummus folk that are sitting and just completely enraptured by the tale. And you can see the cloak and the hood that they're wearing is a mixture of like armored parts. And it looks like this wolf. It is the cloak. She had made this cloak of this creature she found. And now it protects her own kin, her own child. And she just kind of grins and draws her own cloak back over. It's cold outside. And kind of looks to each of you for approval, right? Like, this is a warrior's tale. Huh?
And I think as she's telling the story, the hummus, I think Nemo starts stepping forward slowly and like pushing Finn along just so Finn can get closer to the fire and not hide behind them. And like have Finn sit next to Elalla just so they can warm up. And whenever Nemo sees the scars, Nemo just nods approvingly and actually will lift up a bit of their shirt, like their like layers of shirt, and you'll see in the sides, even though they have this like thick white fur, there's some scarring that looks like a bite from the ribs.
And she kind of like, she leans forward and it's like, if she had a beard, right, like she'd be stroking it. It's one of those type of gestures, like, yes, wonderful, this is amazing. You know, she's speaking, but again, just kind of lost in translation. But she's absolutely fascinated. She wants to know the tale.
She wants to know your story, I think.
My story. Oh, I don't know if how I can like.
Good. Act it out.
I'm not. Oh, acting. Oh,
Oh, it doesn't have to be good. It's just a story.
yeah. Okay. And like, if a dog could blush,
Oh.
because they're just like rubbing their neck. They're like, okay, all right. And they'll like kick the snow bit, and they're like, pull the shirt back down, and like straighten it out, and try to think of the charades of like how to act out this thing. And they'll go off back towards like walk off a bit, and they're walking along, and they're gonna act like they're hot, like be like, oh, it's hot, it's humid, like fanning themselves and like panting and like all that stuff. And they'll say there's like the whole like 4 me plus 4, so 5, like all of us, because I think numeric fingies and thumbs are pretty much the same. Like,
They'd be like, okay, there's 1, 2, there's this many of you, and there's this many of us. Yeah, numbers are about the same.
Yeah, they're like 5 of my type with us, and I was they maybe bring it down to their shoulders, maybe like saying that they're a little bit younger, like maybe like a teenager, quote unquote. And like if Elalla wants to like give certain words and clues and stuff,
I think
like
she's kind of like translating, like maybe points to the kid, but she goes like a little taller.
yeah. And basically the story that Nemo's telling now is that when they were a teenager with their pack, there was about 5 of them at that time. They were going through the summertime in like a desert area. And this is all like acting out, but
Yeah,
for story purposes, like flashback
yeah,
memories.
for
This
sure.
is what you're seeing. Yeah.
Flashback.
And they're all like, you know, hot. They're low on water, etc. And it was a pack of trying to think of a good deserty creature.
Sandworm. No.
Oh no, that's actually kind
Sandworm.
of good. Let's do a
Oh.
sandworm. Yeah,
You can look, you could put whatever
this is our
kind of
world. We do what
creature
we
you
want.
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and then like they're stopping and like trying to take a break and like wiping the sweats from their forehead and like trying to cool down, and all of a sudden the ground starts shaking underneath them. And this is the first time ever experiencing a sandworm, and that's when Nemo sort of like has their arm and like puts it in the snow and like has it like sort of like run along the snow and then burst up with like the mouth open.
You see like the little kid just go like
Yeah. And so Nemo pulls out their, points to their sword because they don't want to pull it out in front of company because they don't want to flash the weaponry, And like that, like it's like so like they're fighting it. They're telling like how they're fighting it, and how at one point this worm disappears and they think they fended it off, and then it comes up and like grabs Nemo by the side by doing like one of those wide sweeps, like where like it like busted out of the sand, grabbed Nemo, and went back down in the sand. And Nemo thought they were gone. But it comes back up and like it tries to do like the tossing thing. But Nemo is able to escape in time, like by jumping out, like as they're being tossed, they were able to like use that momentum to like fling themselves further. So they wouldn't land in the maw. And so that's how they have the big old like wound, the big old scar. Because they were able to like run away in time and like get away.
and the woman is just beaming with like respect. It's so universal, that look, right, of approval and just like, oh yes, it is good for you to have survived, and kind of like waves over to another companion who kind of offers you drink and food, whether or not you know what it is. Who knows? Humans are weird. They're different. They're not common here. But they certainly present each of you with food. Although you are not the only person in the party, and they are very interested. They look to both Finn and Elalla, like, excuse me, almost expectedly, as if you too. Warriors, your own stories?
Actually, you know what Finn's gonna do? I am going to show off this. Oh, the headgear. And I'll say not warrior, finder.
And they nod, understanding, with a little assistance from Elalla.
Deep down. Found big metal thing. this big with dead skeleton. This skeleton from skeleton. This skeleton.
Oh.
Different. Big metal. Weird. Had chop on. Chop.
they make like every time that you the hand gestures that you try to do, they're trying to understand. Chop, but then you're spinning, and the child, I think, is the one that throws their arms out. Big metal bird.
Yes. Found. Deep ground. Mine now.
and
there's like a faded name, like word unknown. I don't know if they want to try to read. There's like a name.
Ooh, I don't. Would they be
Says
able to?
Ben.
Would they know? Girls, be nice to each other. They're vying for attention. The two.
Oh,
like,
poor
"Pet me."
puppies.
I'm gonna be in heaven. Just two puppies, just petting all day. They don't seem to recognize reading may not be something that they can comprehend, even if it was a language perhaps from ancestors long ago. Their language has evolved in such a different way that they kind of just like shrug at you apologetically.
Mine now. You friend here? And I'll pull number 45 rock out. It is something that was found around there. It's because of how much time has passed, it's like a copper ore, so it's like not really even like look at it, it's kind of heavy. It's like a cool color, but to Finn it's not as impressive. It might be impressive to other people who actually know what it is, but it's like green rock.
Yeah. and you can see like maybe by the weapons and stuff that they have, it's not stuff that they have necessarily, like, they did not mine the ore and smelt it down and make these weapons. These are their clothing, the weapons, the other items that they have at camp are very much things that have been found. Perhaps they live in, in what you would consider like an ancient ruin is just their home. They've made refuge and home within that ancient ruin, and maybe the hummuses are just more capable of living beyond sanctuaries. They where because you don't find them in any sanctuary that you've been to, nor have you heard of them going to sanctuaries. So they are peculiar drifters, you would maybe say. And the fact that here they are surviving seemingly without worry, compared to you know the life of a drifter wandering beyond a sanctuary is inevitably a death sentence. And here they are, generational, just okay, happy, smiling, laughing, sharing stories over a campfire, sharing food with strangers of a different kind. But then they look to you, Elalla, their translator, eager to hear your story.
I don't have many stories. I'm new. write and listen and explore. I'm no warrior.
The woman goes, and like kind of hastily takes the journal from you and flips through again and it points at that big metal titan. You?
That was mostly Nemo.
You? Like all of you? Closes the book and hands it back. Great warrior still. To survive an encounter of something not made of stone that is animated, an ancient horror. Warrior spirit inside each and every one of you. Capable of conquering anything in your way. Stay here for the night. Keep warm. Have food.
Stay.
Yeah,
Y'all down? Stay
I'll
here.
kind of look at Nemo.
I think they both kind of looked at Nemo. Like,
and Nemo looks between the two of them, looks at the woman and like gives a nod of like thanks, and then pulls out the stringing can and be like,
and
"Do we need?"
They're curious. They're not sure what you're doing with a bunch of cans, which they're familiar with cans, right? Because it's just trash that is found, and sometimes it has something inside of it, and other times you don't. It's a horror of its own, and you don't want to open it.
Yeah.
But they just kind of like watch. They observe. Very curious.
I think they're holding, seeing their confusion. Will pull the string and like pull it taut, so no, like hey, and then they'll point to outside the away from the fire and point like around, and then take the cans and just clam them together.
Oh. And they're fascinated by this. If they were to go the following evening, if we were to travel with them instead of you, you would see them attempt to make something similar, and perhaps it doesn't quite come off as the alarm system that you had, but maybe they've just created some sort of like wind chime or type of jewelry that is for them, some sort of musical instrument of dangling pieces that make sound together.
They make a xylophone.
They make a xylophone.
Aww.
Yes. The invention of the xylophone.
And then I think with their like approval / confusion / wonderment, Nemo will set up the alarm.
Absolutely. And that's your night, though. It is sharing more stories, listening to their stories of adventure, of danger. They have been through drought. They have been through devastating storms. They are happy and eager to share with you songs of their people, dances that they do, and perhaps even by the time that you wake up and it is time to part ways, because they are going in a completely different direction than you, naturally, of course. They each leave you maybe some sort of, piece of clothing or jewelry as some sort of like offering of kinship. They very much deeply enjoyed your company for the evening and appreciate the time spent with you.
Aw.
I do think before they go their separate ways, Elalla's like looking at something in her book. She just goes, and then like rips out a page and then hands it to the warrior woman who let them in, and it's a picture of her.
I love these characters so much. Just put on the books.
Right. She holds.
It's not very good, but
It doesn't have to be good though. This is a group of people where art may not be, they're so busy surviving that they don't have time to learn how to do this sort of skill and to understand what it means to be expressive and to share art. And you have just shared art with them. And she is like staring at it for a moment, and maybe doesn't it takes a while between your drawing capabilities and her just lack of knowledge and understanding, to kind of understand what it is. But she can see the scars that you like drew in there and the spear off to the side, and she points at it and then like pokes at her own chest and just beams and goes like, ah. And like everybody else is just like a good old morning cheer because she's so excited about it.
I think hearing the human scream, I think Nemo's a little off guard as they're collecting their cans. And so they jump up and look around, and they look back to camp and see like it's a celebration noise.
Yeah.
And like, oh, okay, we're fine.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the conclusion of our travel phase. You have successfully made it through 3 adventurous days. There wasn't too much danger, which you're drifters. Not everything has to be danger. In fact, despite how tragic the past couple of days have been, to make a friend and to lose a friend, to meet someone so entirely new that each of you, almost in infancy of each of your species, the ability to communicate, even in the smallest thing, to find a common denominator, it shows how much beauty is still there to be found and explored in this world. There is corruption. There is something awful that destroyed the planet before your own existences. And yet, in this one moment of time, on a large mountain, somewhere on this planet, 3 animal folk made friends with a group of hummuses. And I wish I could say that we conclude there, but our journey must continue, because you have a very important mission to solve. There are other people whose lives depend on you, and time is running out. So as you wander, you start hearing the sound of a you hear the sound of running water, which is good, because you know that this is likely the water source that runs to that mountaintop, to where that sanctuary is located. And if you were to go over and investigate, it's not like a rapids or anything, but it is running relatively fast. Certainly not something that you'd want to jump in and try to wade through. It is about a half-mile wide. And you can see some animals maybe upstream. There are fish aplenty in there. It's clear, crystal clear, beautiful water. And you follow that upstream because you know there's eventually going to be a facility attached to it that needs to filter this water. And how cold and how clean it looks is very tempting to fill your canteens with. But you were told not to. You were told that this water is dangerous. And so you continue on. Until eventually, as the sun is still maybe midday in the sky, you're able to come across a bunch of ruins. There are pieces of metal and stone scattered all over the place. The terrain becomes much more rocky, more than likely just pieces of debris that have been grown over. There are the more inward that you walk towards these ruins, the more sound some of the structures appear to be. It's hard to tell if these were houses, businesses. Perhaps you take a moment to let your imagination run wild and wonder what it would have been like 1,000 years ago living here. Would it look like the sanctuaries? Would there be a bustling marketplace in the center of the town? But that's probably something unlikely to be discovered here, because most of these buildings are just ruins. But there is one closer to the river, off to the side and into the back, that has lights. There are green lights. And they shine through. Let me see this real quick, sorry. Yes, oh gosh, please go. You're good. Just go, you're fine. There are lights, and you can hear the sound, that electrical hum. But even over that, you hear just and water splashing, as there is like this mill wheel off to the side that seems to continuously be powering the only building here that has power. You would assume that's probably the place that you're looking to go to. What is it you would like to do? What phase do we want to go into? Do we want to... we can explore. You could have some downtime. There's really nothing to fight right now. But that's up to you.
Wait for Banzai to get back, but I'm down for exploration.
I was muted. Yes. Also down for exploration.
All right. So let me flip over the camera real quick. And we are going to clear... Well, we'll just leave these off to the side because I don't have the thing open, and it's just going to be easier if I do this.
I'm back.
Alrighty, welcome back.
Thank you. I also choose exploration. I'm sorry.
You choose exploration too? Okay, perfect. So we'll switch back over here. So that's our dungeon map. Now what's really cool about this game, especially folks if you are new to Hyperlight Drifter, much like the video game, there are dungeons. And in this dungeon, just so happens to be a powerhouse that is used to filtrate running water. And this running water is what trickles all the way back to the sanctuary town that you had come from. And, well, I'm going to let you go ahead and narrate where we're going to start. Would you like to enter? Would you like to explore the surroundings more? What would you like to do?
The water still looks fine at this point that we have been seeing, right? Like we can't tell anything's wrong with it just by looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there'd be a point in looking around outside.
I guess since we're doing this is a machine, right? That we're looking at, or is it just the building?
It's just the building, but it has like think of it like a hydro plant. And there's just this wheel that's off on the side that's being powered because of the water.
Could I use? I'm gonna use my manipulate to just kind of see if there's generally anything outside that I see wrong about the structure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great roll.
Right. Oh. Let me go ahead and see. Manipulate. Go. Yes. I got a 12. My threshold is 16 through 8. So it's a partial success.
Oop, I muted myself. Sorry there. All right. And Mo, please go. You're allowed
Oh.
to. You're
It's
fine.
fine. I was like, I gotta hold it.
No,
All right,
go. Please. Do we want to take a break? We can take a break. We can take a break.
I already did my break.
I know you already did your break. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. I was just like, it was good. I was like, this is really interesting. It's a really good part. And I was like, but also.
It's totally fair. I get it. Sometimes you just gotta. It happens. And we're
so
on
if you want,
stream.
I could dictate it really quick. We'll see like a partial success.
Yeah, you've got a partial.
Or do you
success
want me
with it.
to?
No, I want you to. Please. The more that y'all narrate, this is your story to tell. So I'm all for it.
I would say that the easiest pathway, like just looking at the structure, I can't necessarily tell close up. There's something a little off. Can't really focus, but I think the consequence I find out is the easiest pathway to there got wrecked. The structure doesn't look safe. Like there's a bridge or something that we're supposed to originally cross, but it looks like it's kind of like had something like over time either degraded or something must have like broken pieces off of it at some point, and the structure looks questionable, and so it might not be as easy to traverse into the building. That would be our partial success.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Little danger. You may need to find an alternative route to get into the building. Otherwise, you could try to maybe brave through the bridge. So what would you like to do?
Are we looking for an alternative route in?
Or we could try the bridge. I mean, the structure doesn't look that bad from the outside. Fairly good. Like maybe there's only something weird going on, but I say it's only the thing that's got messed up is the bridge to it. Could I poke the bridge with my survival to see, kind of toss a rock out there, how good it would be to step on said bridge?
You know what? I'm not even gonna have you roll. Well, I might have you roll. Do you have a coin? Can you just flip a coin? It's a 50-50, or we can do odds and evens if that's easier on any die.
Odds and even would be easier.
Okay, odds and evens.
I got a quarter right here, but
Oh wait, you got a quarter. Go ahead.
I don't want to flip it for you. I don't want that on me.
My conscience.
Tails, the rock that you throw is fine. Heads, the rock just completely like goes through rotted wood.
Oh, I don't have a coin, so even.
So yeah, odds and evens good, odds bad.
All right. Odd.
Oof. Yeah, you watch as you like hesitantly toss like stone number 254 and watch as it just like kind of rolls, like it impacts and you're like, oh, and then it rolls a little bit further and then just like that entire section just splashes into the water. It's still connected. It's just like that section just kind of like bottomed out.
I don't think that's safe.
Yeah, let's no.
So another way in is what we're doing.
I
Okay.
agree. Yes.
Who would like to roll for another way?
I can roll.
You want to do it? Okay.
Yeah. I have to pick something to use, right? Or do I for this?
Yeah,
Or do we
you
just
I think you have to choose exploration or something like that, or survival, or I think.
either
I'm
of
guessing.
those are great.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, either of those work.
We'll go with exploration because it's a little better. So to find another path.
I very much spilled something on this, and I don't.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Coffee or something. I don't know. It's just been sitting on my desk since we started.
Crap.
Here we go. Here's the deck. This is what I'm looking for. Okay.
Got a 19.
Got a 19?
Yeah.
I don't even think I have to ask, but that's definitely a fortune, right?
Oh,
That is above your
yeah.
Oh, great. Yes, go ahead. You tell me. You tell me. You narrate what's going on.
We haven't found a door yet, right? Like
Mm-mm.
that hasn't. Okay. So I think I don't know. I'm trying to think of how. I'm just trying to think of Are we in the building? Are we in the building?
We're outside. Secret
Okay, we're
tunnel?
still outside. Okay.
Yeah, you're outside, and it sounds like maybe it's kind of almost like an island off on itself, like in the river, because we needed a bridge to get to.
Would it be totally wild if there was an underground passage?
No, not an. It could be an underground thing.
Could I make an underground passage? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think as the bridge incident is happening, Elalla kind of sees it crumble and they're like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Starts kind of looking around, and as they're walking, they kind of hear their footsteps change. And then they kind of take a few steps back, hear it change again, take a few steps forward, take a few steps back, and then looks down and kind of starts brushing away and reveals a trap door situation, I guess. A way in maybe that mechanics use. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about water places.
Yeah, absolutely. It's without a doubt a mechanics tunnel.
Yeah.
When they were doing the construction of the building, this definitely information you super know. But when they were doing, the construction on this facility, they needed a way to get workers in and out safely without being drowned, and this was one method that they used. So it may still be connected to the building. It may be sealed off. You don't know right now. You haven't gone in to explore it. There could be a lot of things. It could be flooded. It could be damaged. But it does appear that this leads. There's a stair down. There is no lights, but it does seem to lead towards the structure that you want to head towards.
I found a tunnel thing. I think it leads to it, maybe a back door. Do you think it's safe?
I mean, as safe as it can be, I guess.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
You might want to have your shield out for
yes.
light.
Gets out light shield that they never remember. Emits light.
All right. Well, we don't have a deck to play with, but we do have our rolly chart to determine what's this room going to be, essentially. Who would like to make the roll? I feel like Calamity, this is kind of your role. You found it.
That's fair.
Yeah, if you would like to just roll me a d20.
A 7.
Is it what?
A 7.
A 7? Okay. Okay. So a 7 to 12 is going to be a challenge room.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we got the rolly chart. And there are many dangers and challenges to overcome, and they vary greatly when it comes to a challenge room. So I'm going to switch this over to the map real quick. I think I already have a challenge room. I do. And we're just going to put that
Secret
right
tunnel.
there. Beep-a-de-boop. Look at that. See, this is cool. Shout out Metalweave Games. Thank you, A, so much for sponsoring us. And B, these tokens, this background, this overlay, this is all stuff that is provided to streamers to utilize for their streams as well. And it makes life so much easier, and it's just nice to have. So thank you for those assets.
It's great.
Yes. We're going down into this semi-secret tunnel, lit pretty decently. I would say maybe like 10 feet ahead you can see. It is cold. It would be damp, but it is frozen over. Any little bits of like water that had like seeped in, it's just cold in here. You could see your breath as you make your way through. You hear the sounds of rushing water just flowing over you. Occasionally, like, you even feel little rumbles. It's very scary. Have any of you done any type of aquatic adventure before? That's potentially horrifying.
Yeah, I don't think Nemo's been by like the water or on the beach, but it's always been like land. Never been in the water.
Yeah, and in the water. Ooh, very very spooky here. But you do come to a part where, where there is there seems to be some sort of blockage. Maybe like a cave-in of some sort, or there's just so much debris that's down here. You're not sure if it was put here intentionally. You're not sure what's on the other side, but you are currently blocked off. What is it you would like to do? This is your challenge room.
Can I see if there's like any gaps to get through, or like any like loose things to move and shift around, so like we could probably make passage through?
Yeah, it just looking. I'm not gonna have you roll for it. It looks like some of the rocks can be moved. Some of them are just too big. There's no way that even all of you combined would be able to shift them. It does kind of match like the walls, and so it makes you wonder if like this was a full cave-in, but there doesn't seem to be any water that's like seeping through. There's no trace of ice where anything is like frozen over. So maybe it was before. You're not quite sure, but some of the rocks do look like they can be moved.
That's what Nemo's doing. Nemo's starting to like shift rocks around and stuff to start trying to clear a path, but you see them get frustrated because they can't actually find an actual path then.
Okay, could I like maybe find out a little bit with my because would this be considered delving?
Yes, this is absolutely considered. We are doing a dungeon delve.
All right. I could spend a dash to do one of my feats, which is alternative route.
Oh.
So like basically increases my resistance pool by 2, but also during the delve phase, I can create a secret passage card and place it in this delve.
Ooh, what?
So that would be that's a dash action. That like boom, I have take away one of my dashes.
I would say go for it. That'd be great.
All right.
Yeah, you're able to like as Nemo's kind of like looking like, just like, all right, I guess we'll, move everything, starts moving it. Maybe you stop them. You notice some water starting to trickle through, and this is not the right route to go. And as you're kind of like looking around, you can see just a little corner of what looks to be like a passage going left. And if you maybe clear out enough rock from that way, you can get through and be A-okay.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems like going straight is a really bad idea.
So it's like somebody else, I think, like I'll go ahead and mention it. I'll be like, it looks like somebody else explored this area. There's already another tunnel right here, and I just like kind of bloop bloop bloop, and then there's another tunnel. I'll go ahead and like kind of like do the whole slapping to see how structurally sound it is, and then scuttle through. Like it's big enough. It's definitely, it might be a little bit of a tight squeeze for Nemo, but we could get through.
Yeah,
I mean-
you're able to make it through, and you can kind of see, like, as you kind of like hop down from like the pile of rocks into this new tunnel. It's damp, it's muddy. There's water leaking through from the other side of that, so you know that you don't want to move too many more rocks, or else there's a risk of completely flooding the entire chamber, which would be pretty bad. Who would like to roll next?
Since I was first in this hole,
Yeah.
I will roll.
All right, just roll me a d20.
All right, let's go. I got a 20.
You got a 20.
It was the one one time I have a 20. It's right here. It's right.
You know what?
Looking at it right.
But it's a great time to have a 20. This tunnel that you're now in is what's known as a safe place. And a safe room is a space where you can take a moment to rest. It's secure. You feel very confident taking this tunnel versus trying to dig through into the other tunnel. And you are able to make it without incident, without trouble. There's nothing to be found here. It does look like somebody else. It's not the same stone that was used as a structure. It definitely looks like somebody just dug their way through, but it works and it's safe. So perhaps another drifter of some sort. Usually when you find things like this, it's because of drifters from before made their way through. And I think that's where we're going to go ahead and end tonight. Before we roll again to see what next room we dive into. As there is now a door, another latch at the end of this particular tunnel. We'll find out what's behind it next week, maybe. We'll let you. It's a holiday. We have to figure it out. We'll talk about it after the show.
Yeah.
But we've got 2 more episodes left.
Oh gosh.
2 more episodes.
Oh
Oh.
No. It's almost over, and y'all are getting so close. So close to uncovering a truth here. Ooh. You're getting through. Let's go ahead and take a moment to say who are each of you? Who are you? How can we support you? What do you got going on in the coming week, in the coming month? You could expand a little more, I'd say, because it's a holiday, so there might not be folks who have stuff, or there might be folks who do have stuff. So we'll go in reverse order this time around. So Mo, who are you?
Oh.
Where can we find you?
Oh, okay, I'm first now. Hi, I'm Mo. They should pronouns. You can find me all over the internet at Saturday Bezos. We'll show the link later. I do a lot of tabletop stuff in general. I'm pulling back quite a bit during this great, beautiful season that we got going on here. just because my brain needs a break. I've done a lot. But one thing I do want to hype up is like Sundays, I stream 2 versions of Mask, one at noon Central, the one at 7 p.m. Central. They're great times. You can follow my stuff on Twitter to see it where it is. And I do want to hype up Utopia because we're going to be having BIPOC Sci-Fi Day coming up the weekend of the 4th. So I think it's the 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere around there. And we're streaming and raising money for lupus for all that. So follow Utopia, follow me, keep up. Yeah.
Awesome.
Don't know I did finger guns. That's
You did.
what
It's
that's
great.
Hey.
How about the double shaky air gunner over there? Why don't you tell us who you are?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Banzai Baby. I do woodworking here on Twitch and also just like feel good cozy games because competitive games make me sad and a lot of story games make me sad. Like, oh god, I can't do Detroit. Detroit is hard. There's a lot of choices in that game. Hard choices, but yes, so you can find me here, or if you want, just follow my Twitters because I also hop around to a lot of various different RPGs, and 'tis the holiday season. I hope, if you don't mind me, can I also say a charity stream that I would also like to? So,
Yes, please
Gen
do.
Con TV on the 3rd. It's not gonna be a week. It's just on the 3rd of December. Is doing a Coyote and Crow RPG to like basically support the IRS survivors. So basically, they give aid to Canadian residential, like basically victims of Canadian residential school abuse. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, it's going to be on Gen Con on the 3rd of December. So, yay.
Awesome. That sounds super cool. Also, that game, I'm so excited. So excited for it. That art looks so pretty. It looks so good. Calamity, what about you? Who are you? How can we find you? How can we support you?
Oh, heck, I'm Calamity Darling on all the things, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, literally everything. I got very lucky. I announced today that I am, during the month of December, doing a charity event. We're raising money for Rise Above the Disorder, which is a organization that helps people afford or pays for their therapy, which is very expensive, unfortunately. So they actually started out as a World of Warcraft guild who just like loved mental health and then grew into this like charity organization that,
What?
yeah, right?
I learned about
that.
them. This is amazing.
What? Yeah. So yeah, they actually helped me afford therapy, which I desperately needed at the time. So I wanted to give back by doing a month-long charity stream. So we're gonna have a whole bunch of events. You can keep an eye on my Twitter account, and I might be DMing my first game ever.
Yeah!
Oh my God,
I'm
When
so
can be
scared.
running, maybe,
Congrats!
hopefully.
It's gonna be fun.
I don't know when. Still working on dates, but that is
Oh, what
awesome.
is it? Do you know yet?
I don't know yet. No,
Okay.
I don't know yet. Yeah, I got that. I gotta figure that out.
If you
That's
want
so
suggestions or like need help with like things, let us know.
I will. Thank you. Because I'm
Yeah.
very nervous.
Oh, you'll do great. You're so good. Like
you're
you're
amazing.
yeah.
Oh, this is so cool. I'm so because we know you're kind of a new player, too, right? And you're stepping into that GM. Oh, oy,
Like
oy
my
vey.
inner
my
game
heart.
designer is like, I have to. So
You're jumping in the deep end, and I'm so excited for you.
Yes. Oh, it's gonna
And
be
also
great.
abuse the power, live off of their tears. Sorry, I'm
that's
joking.
gonna be the
I'm
hard
joking.
part. That's gonna be the hard part.
I
But
want to be in a game with Banzai GMing, honestly.
honestly,
With that energy.
that would be such a good game.
Well, that's super exciting. Thank you, and all of you who have all these wonderful charity events. I mean, tis the season. Please support folks how you can and when you can. If you can't do it monetarily, did you know that a retweet works just as well? Honestly, it's just as supportive, showing up, just as supportive. So go hang out with some awesome folks for the holidays. I do want to talking about support. Big shout out to Andreas and to Metalweave Games. Thank you for A, sponsoring this show. B, providing us with amazing materials so that we can play and learn this show together. Metalweave Games is our sponsor. They make all sorts of really cool stuff. They just funded their Baby Bestiary 2022 calendar, which is super dope. Love it. So cute. They have a bunch of other really great games. You can find the Hyperlight Drifter tabletop role-playing game from them. They've got a bunch of other really cool stuff. Definitely, check them out at metalweave.games. Like I said, they're our sponsor, so thank you so much. And Andreas, I know you hang out and chat and help us out when we don't understand rules, so thank you so much. We appreciate your time. My name is Gnome. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Nomedic. I do TTRPG things in TTRPG spaces. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I am over on my own Twitch channel with doing a morning show where we wake the heck up over a cup of coffee with a bunch of friends, and we just chat about tabletop games, life, news, whatever we feel like during the day, whatever chat wants to talk about. It's a very fun, energetic, and cozy time. And then I think the only thing else that I'm gonna plug, because I'm like doing 50 billion other things right now, Wednesday of next week, the 29th, I believe, there's gonna be a Humblewood game on Hit Point Press, yeah. Their Twitch channel. We're gonna play Humblewood, and I'm playing a badger. So when you said badger, it was like, I love badgers.
Mushroom.
They're my favorite animal. I love them. They're great. So come check that out. That'll be a little fun thing just before the holidays kick off. But do we raid? Can we raid somebody? I don't have channel privileges. Mur, you're here. Who can we raid? I know Critical Misses is playing. Super Dylan's playing. I think Michael Kritz, Data Dave, or any other people that are affiliated with the channel too is also good. I just might not have them on my list. But I would love to bring the community on over there. Thank you all so much for chatting with us and watching us play through this game. Shout out to Banzai for making hummuses.
We're going to Critical Misses, by the way.
We're going to Critical Misses. Let's go to Critical Misses. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch y'all maybe next week. If not, we'll have a notice up. But enjoy the holiday in case we don't see you. Please be safe. And remember to be kind to yourself and to others. We'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.